The Orks got me my golden ticket with the very first undefeated run of 11th edition. Beautiful this weekend. It was absolutely awesome. So stay tuned to find out all about that. Guys, I'm Jonathan Arkin. I am Dot Crump, and I'm here to help you guys become much better players to maximize your potential for 40K as greatly as possible. So let's just talk a little bit about how this weekend went and why the Orks feel like they're in such a good place. Because I got to be real with you, they felt so good. And just a tip, I think big. If you're not gonna be enjoying the Docker rigs right now, you should, because there's no way they're gonna remain at the current price. They are too freaking cheap. So this was a 50-person GT. It's the first weekend of full GTs of 11th edition. I actually ended up second. There were two undefeated players, and I lost in the tiebreaker due to Mr. Eirik Rocknestensland. And a big shout out to him, because this is actually his third GT in a row that he's won. And 3 GTs ago was his first GT win. So he's been on an absolute tear, and I'm really proud of him, even though he's a coward and he's ducking me. He ducked me in this tournament. It's just fun to talk crap. He's my friend. He didn't duck me. Actually, I think that he probably had a better pairing into me. I think his army matched up quite well into mine. So this was an awesome freaking event, and let's break down what the Ork list looked like so that you can help yourself become a better list builder, because there are a lot of new rules to building lists in 11th edition, and I'm currently building like an entire platform for you guys so that you can learn the nuances of list building, because it's pretty freaking in depth. But let me show you what my list was, and I'm going to explain why the units were in the army. I'll take you through a few of the matchups, and I'm going to explain why those matchups were just honestly. Some of them were kind of pushovers due to the disposition matchup. 11th edition is very interesting due to the way the dispositions work. And some of the matchups were very challenging due to the players I was playing, but the dispositions was just really interesting. All right, so here's the list. I was playing Warhorde. This is my version 1 of my Wartide list, and the theory is pretty simple. I wanted to run a take and hold army. I know everyone out there and their brother is saying that Purge the Foe is the best freaking disposition, and while I don't necessarily disagree that Purge the Foe is like the obvious, it gives you the most obvious scoring out of any of the dispositions, I think I'm going to argue that it's the best disposition. It's certainly the most popular, though. No, there's no doubt about it, and it's certainly good, right? As a matter of fact, at our tournament, 44% of the people who showed up to the tournament were Purge the Foe players. 20% of them were take and hold. Now, what's really fascinating is that out of the 20% people who were take and hold, they were 59% of the take and hold games were victories. That's interesting. 59% of the take and hold matches were victories versus I think 44% of the field was Purge, and they only had 49% of their matches were victories. Very fascinating how it worked out in our tournament. Now, there is a huge global meta. Take these numbers for what it's worth. We also had an 80% win rate on T-Suns. There's only one T-Sun player. He went 4-1. We had a 35% win rate on Custodes, but this is one weekend's data. Don't get too caught up in the data. Let's talk about this list. It was take and hold, and the reason for that is because I was running I was running a Warhorde list that was not mounted, and I didn't want to have to be forced to extend myself into my opponent. I wanted to force my opponent to have to come to me, and then it would make my watch turn much easier so I could reach out and touch them after they have to extend into me. My assumptions, which was correct, was that there would be a lot of Purge the Foe players out there. And when you have Purge the Foe players who also know that there's a lot of Purge the Foe players out there, they have to tech for Meat Grinder, which is the Purge the Foe against the Purge the Foe matchup. So what I did is I kind of built my list to counter Purge the Foe armies that were meant to counter Purge the Foe armies, if that makes sense. So that style of Purge the Foe would be really like lower unit count armies, really hard hitting and slightly more durable stuff. And so that was the theory that I operated off of, and it honestly seemed to freaking work out really well. That was my theory going into the tournament anyway, and I feel fairly justified in my theory. So here's the army list. I went a Beast Boss, and I actually gave him the Follow Me Lads enhancement, and I attached them to the Beast Snaggle Boys. Now, this is interesting, because a lot of people expect the Follow Me Lads to go on Gaz's Brick. I'll talk about why it wasn't in just a moment, but for right now, it was on the Beast Boss, and that was a very cool thing. Then we have Gazcool Mech Urg Chaka, the Great Prophet of Gorkamork. We love him. He's also with a big mech, because your boy squads can have 2 leaders. It's official. It's in the app. You can absolutely put your 2 leaders. And then I also had the Pain Boy, who is a support. So this was a very expensive unit, because I had 3 characters, 4 if you want to include Makari, and then I had the 20-man squad of boys as well. So this was a brutal unit. Now, interestingly enough, due to certain rulings that we're currently going off of, which I think is wrong, but listen, it's early 11th. There are nuances in the rules that don't work as written still, and so those are currently being cleaned up. So for right now, we do have to have some TO rules, and it's okay. I mean, people are you just got to play with a hand that you're dealt for right now. Currently, there is a lot of people who are assuming that you cannot attach a character with an enhancement to a unit that also has an epic hero in it. There's an argument for, there's an argument against. I'm not going to get into the nuances why. I think they're wrong on the rulings that you can't attach it, but that's okay. So I didn't have any enhancements on this unit in this army, but they were attached to the 20-man boy squad. But the reason why I included the big mech is because once you used Here We Go on the boy squad, Here We Go is the stratagem to give you +2 to advance and +2 to charge. You can no longer reroll an advance roll because you can't use more than one stratagem on a unit. And if it's your go turn and you have to get to where you're going, and you spend the CP for Here We Go, give yourself +2 advance, +2 charge, and then you roll a 1 on your advance, your entire game could just be over. And you only got one shot at the wall. So yeah, I paid the 70-point tax to put the big mech in there specifically to give me the reroll advance roll. And you know what? I don't regret it at all. It was a huge wild success. Massive, because I would have lost like 2 games because of ones on the advance rolls with this unit. And so now I didn't, which was a very, very cool thing. So that was a powerhouse of a unit. Luckily, when we get the codex, as per the previews that we saw from GW, that won't be a problem anymore because Orks will just always be rerolling advance rolls. All right, then I ran a war boss attached to a unit of boys. This is a placeholder for right now. This unit was solid. I think I'm going to drop the war boss because I just didn't need him, but this second squad of boys was almost a must. The combination of hidden and sticky really just made these guys so valuable to go reach out and touch the objective that I need them to touch you, and then later on just leave. Very, very relevant. Beast Boss on Squigosaur. I'm so excited to announce that I am back on Squigs. The Hogs can't lose, baby. These guys were very, very cool to be running. It was interesting and it was different running them again because it's been a long time since I've had Squigs on the table, but with their points reductions, I do believe that they are actually a viable unit again, and this unit definitely had real play. So I put Cunning but Brutal on the Beast Boss on Squigosaur. So he gave the unit +1 to charge, he gave them the free Heroic Intervention strat, which is incredible in 11th, and then he also gave them Fallback, Shoot, and Charge with the Cunning but Brutal enhancement. I attached them to 8 Hogs. Now, in some of the matchups, this unit was interesting, because I just kind of had to send it out early, like turn 1, turn 2 before I WAD, because I still had to contest some things or kill something or gum some stuff up. And they are the only unit that the Orks have available to us that can really survive a turn outside the wall. And so even if they didn't do much killing, they were enough to survive, which allowed me to stage the rest of my army to go have a devastating wall turn. So I really like the Squigs, and then sometimes they were actually very brutal in the wall as well. But I actually kind of think I like them more for their durability than anything else, which is making me consider maybe I don't quite need the full 8-man. Maybe I do a 4-man and an extra 4-man. I'm not sure on that yet. I run Boss Nikrot. He's awesome. I believe infiltrators are much less required in this edition. So since you don't have like the infiltrate and scout double up in 11th edition. So I went with Boss Nikrot instead of a squad of commandos this turn, and I liked him, and his teleport ability was mint. Now, you can't use it in turn 1 because no ingress is in turn 1, but it just came in clutch all the time. And even though you can get hidden, and you can get hidden 12 if you've got the Gone to Ground ability from being behind a solid terrain piece, just having Lone Up 12 wherever you go is still highly, highly relevant in the game. I took Mozrog Scragbad solo. Now, this guy I have questions about. One, I loved him because he is way too durable for a 125-point model. It really forces your opponent to put more into him than they want to. And he also hits hard enough to really want your opponent to kill him when he's instead of your other things, because the +1 damage against monsters and vehicles, +2 damage against Titanics, which, oh yeah, Titanics are a thing, especially if you run into priority assets, because remember, Titanics can both action and shoot. So if you're Imperial Knights, guard players, if you're a guard player, you might be actually running Bane Blades in this edition. Mozrog becomes actually very, very interesting in a lot of these matchups. So Mozrog is cool. I liked him. He is one of the guys I'm considering dropping, but he definitely still performed quite admirably, even though he did get one-tapped by the Necrosaur or Minotaur in my last game, which was sad. Anyway, then we have Wazdaka Gutsmech, who is the hero of the list. I am very happy to admit I was wrong about Wazdaka. I thought Wazdaka was going to lose a lot of value in 11th edition because of the fact that you can no longer ingress turn 1, so he lost the ability to do the turn 1 rapid ingress if you go second. I thought that would decrease his value a ton. Very wrong. No, this guy is a complete legend. I use him for so much stuff. Take and hold specifically, which is my disposition, does tend to score for holding your opponent's home field. Who goes and gets the home field? Wazdaka, Wazdaka, Wazdaka. He also is a menace against the elite infantry, Terminator-style bodies, which is things that, the Orks tend to really hate having to deal with. So he gave me options into some of the models that my army really just doesn't like. Also, with his lone op, he also has the smokescreen keyword, meaning I can have him partially obscuring one model in my squig blob. And since I'm lone op, you have to be within 12 inches to remove me, which means you're probably not killing them, which means my entire hog squad now gets the benefit of cover, even though they typically don't get the benefit of cover from touching ruins because they're mounted, which was very, very valuable, and it came up quite a bit. So Wazdaka is a freaking legend. I absolutely loved him. Then I had one truck. I hate transports this edition, but I have found that I still need one truck just to deliver some guys. So basically, the truck would always start either Gretchen or the Beast Snaga boys inside of it. The Beast Snaga boys would use it as a launch off position. So they would disembark 3. They have Follow Me Lads for +8 moves, so they would go 11 inches. You could even use Here We Go on them inside a transport now because there's no restriction on using stratagems on units of transports. So really, if I wanted to turbocharge that unit of Beast Snagas with a 3-inch disembark, +2 inches to move from Follow Me Lads, that's going to put us at, that's going to put me at 11 inches. I'm going to spend Here We Go. Your maximum movement here, man, which is kind of crazy. You can go 19 inches with this unit on your advance and then still be at +2 to charge. That's kind of insane. Like, it's bonkers. And did I do it in this game? No, but I did go 18 inches at this tournament, which is really, really funny. And then I almost killed a Void Dragon, which was dope. Then we have 2 big mech Docker rigs. Very incredibly powerful units. Now, I know I'm War Horde, which is really wanting the sustained hits in melee. We really want to do melee pressure. But with a take and hold army, these guys are just so brutal, and they're so much better than many people expect. I'll give you an example of it. A big mech Docker rig just obliterates an entire squad of Pathfinders if I can get them when they're not in cover, which many times I could because I was running to Tau, and they might want to be putting up like these move blocks, so they would use some of their units to kind of move block me a little bit. A big mech Docker rig pops on out, gets to see one model wholly. They don't have the benefit of cover. With the heavy keyword, I'm hitting them on 4s with 14 shots, sustained hits, 7-2-2, and then 6 shots hitting on 4s again because of the heavy keyword, 10-2-3. You obliterate an entire 10-man squad of, models in shooting. This is something that Orks are not familiar with. So the Big Mac Docker rigs, I cannot overestimate or over-explain how awesome they were in the matchup. So they are 100% staying, no matter whatever edits I might make. And then I got 2 squads of Gretchen. The Gretchen were heroes, just generating me CP, holding objectives, screening for me. It was awesome. So the list really freaking crushed. If I ever needed to skirmish, I just kind of didn't, to be honest with you. The big mech Docker rigs and Wazaka shooting is plenty enough to kill all the skirmishing units you need to kill. So basically what happens is Gaz stages up with a 12-inch hidden because I can give myself, -1 or the -1 ballistic skill from being in cover, and then also the 12-inch from gone to ground. I kind of actually want my opponent to shoot Gaz early because I want a couple boys to die. Now, between the -1 to wound strat, the 5 up Feel No Pain, they don't kill many boys unless they dedicate something serious into it, in which case I wouldn't be in a position to allow my opponent to dedicate something serious into it. But I kind of desperately want them to kill 1 or 2 boys because what that does is it allows me to use the Pain Boy's ability to regenerate D3 models in my command phase or movement phase, I forget which one it was, to then give myself effectively an extra 4 inches of movement because with 32 millimeter base, which is like 1.1 inches, 2 inches away. So, okay, so 3 to 4 inches of movement just by regenerating a model. What that would do is it would mean that I didn't need the Follow Me Lads enhancement on them because I no longer need the +2 and I can just regenerate models to get myself even more than +2 inches to move. Does that make sense? So that's kind of what I would do. The Snaggers would almost always be charging out of the truck. And yeah, man, besides that, Wazaka jumping around, Snickerot jumping around. There's very few things. There's literally nothing that can survive a Gaz brick. I mean, Gaz went in, he killed a Norn emissary, he left a Norn assimilator on literally 1 wound, and then we took a Tyrannofex down to 5 wounds, and I wasn't able to activate half the unit because of the pylons. Now, some people are asking me, how is using that unit with the coherency rules now? It's a little challenging, but it's not nearly as bad as people think because, remember, coherency rules is within 9 inches, not wholly within 9 inches. So anyway, that is the army list that I was running. Let me take you through some of these pairings. I actually did film these pairings. but I forgot to press on my microphone, so it is what it is. So I'll just take you through the matchups instead of showing the video of it. Sorry. Anyway, let's go to pairings. We'll start with round 1. Pull me up. Where are we? Jonathan. All right, cool. So I played Martin Amot, and Martin was a great guy. He was running a Custodes list. He's newer. I think this was like one of his first 11th edition games. Which, to be fair, I mean it's the first week of 11th edition. It was most people's first few 11th edition games. So he was running a cool Shield Host Might of the Mortuary army, and pretty solid. I liked it. He had a Callidius, he had a Grav Tank, he had an Achilles, he had a Galatus. He had 2 squads of Wardens, the Venerable Land Raider, 2 squads of Bikes, Witch Seekers. Fairly standard Shield Host Moratory list. He didn't have the Deka Telemon, but it was man, the Orks have a lot of pressure, and he just didn't have anything that could run in and actually just kill my blob when the wall was up, and I wasn't ever gonna let him touch me when the wall wasn't up. That was the problem for him. All right, so then let's go on into round number 2, where I think I played Custodes again. Yeah, I played against Mr. Liam Block. It was 100-13. Now, Liam's a good player. He's a very competitive Magic the Gathering player, and he's currently getting used to the new edition, or he's getting used to 40k. I think he's only been playing for about 3 months. Where Liam, the reason why this score was so, there's such a big disparity in the score, had nothing to do with the list. Liam just, he left a model slightly too close to me, and he let me get a wall turn when I was able to get my entire army on him. He learned from the lesson. He's a great guy. He actually had a pretty good sense for the game. He just put himself slightly too close to me. So just a tip for everyone who's watching this. If you're a Purge the Foe player and you're playing into a Take and Hold player, like me, where I'm playing the Wartide, well then make sure you understand the advantages of going first versus going second. When the Take and Hold player goes second, they have a fairly significant innate scoring advantage, assuming they don't give you a kill in turn 1, which they almost certainly won't. If the Take and Hold player goes first against Purge the Foe, the Take and Hold player has a disadvantage, and they at that point actually have to be the ones to start taking the initiative on the battlefield. So just keep that in your minds when you're playing. If you're the Take and Hold player, you kind of have to take initiative if you go first, but you get to sit back and enjoy the fact that your opponent's at a scoring disadvantage if you go second. All right. Cool. Let's go on to the next part. This time we ran into Jakob. Jakob is also a newer player, but oh my gosh, he was crushing at this point. He's running a Tau Empire list. He also had the ability. He also this one, to be fair, like I just landed a 12-inch charge on Gaz, and it's like, I mean, what do you do when Gaz lands a 12-inch charge? He just makes it, and then I hit your entire army, you die. I was also able to screen the entire battlefield. He started a little bit too much in reserves, so he was unable to bring his units in from reserves, except for in his back lines, which just allowed me to push the pressure on him horribly. Now, in round 4 is where things really started getting spicy. I ran into one of my great nemesis. Nemesis? Then I ran into Mr. Sveinung Nudling. Sveinung has ended my hopes and dreams for golden tickets before. He's an incredible player. It's one of the odd things for me is that because he only plays in Norway, he doesn't really travel internationally. He's gone to the World Championships like 2 or 3 times, though. He's an incredible player. He's been on the WTC team. He's one of the guys who always scares me whenever I see his name at a tournament because he's so good. But he doesn't really get recognized internationally because the only times he really travels outside of Norway to play is for the World Championships of Warhammer, which should tell you something. So he, at this point, I think he had gone... Wait, what was it? So he had gone 100, 100, 100. So he had gotten 100 for 3 games in a row before he met me. The reason why the points went the way they did is that his list was kind of... All right, how do I say this? His list was fairly hard countered by my list. He was running a Crusher Stampede list, which was actually very, very scary. But my army was designed specifically to kill Purge armies that were designed to counter Purge armies. And Sveinung's Purge army was designed to counter Purge armies. And because of that, I was able to get into him. He also made a little bit of an error in calculations, because since I went first, Sveinung had the ability to kind of hang back on the table, but he thought he needed to press the action a little bit. And that allowed me to get a really, really, really powerful wall turn in, and it allowed me to really just push him into his reserves. I will say, I will say, Old One Eye is an absolute menace with the new rules of 11th. Because when that guy leads the unit of Carnifexes, after the 2 Carnifexes die, Old One Eye is still doing his healing. he still counts as under half starting strength. So he's still +1 to hit and +1 to wound, and he still gets all of his reroll hit rolls because he still counts as leading the unit, even though the unit is dead. So Old One Eye is an absolute menace in 11th edition, and I think that's really, really valuable information for any of you Tyranid players out there. So, keep that in mind. So Swining, we made it through him. I was sweating bullets when I saw his name in. And then I run into the next guy who I'm sweating bullets in. Rasmus, who was my opponent in the finals. Rasmus is one of the top players. He's always top 5 in Norway. He's an incredible player. He and Svining are on a team called the Warhammer, and they are both my nemesis because Rasmus is the other guy who has taken tickets from he's beaten me, right? Very fairly and squarely, right? To deny me tickets, and he's one of the guys who if I face him in rounds 4 or 5, I know absolutely these are games that I have to be on point for because there's every possibility I'm going to lose. He beat me at the last tournament that we went to here in Norway, actually. And he's also been on the WTC team. He's been to the World Championships twice. Incredible player. He has a golden ticket now because he beat me for it at the last tournament. And so he'll be going to the World Championships for a 3rd time this year. So incredible, incredible player. Now, he was running a interesting Necrons list, which was also taken hold. So what he did is he took a Technomancer with the Wraiths, because if you guys don't know about this stuff in Necrons right now, currently in Awakened Dynasty, if you kill the entire unit, you kill the Technomancer and all the Wraiths, he can spend 1 CP to resurrect the Technomancer, and it's still the same unit. So then he can use his reanimation protocols to then re-heal the Wraiths, even though the entire squad was annihilated. It's something that needs to be patched, but once again, Rasmus had built a list that was designed to really handle some of those purge matches, but he wasn't really designed to handle the things that were designed to handle those purge matches, right? So he had the Technomancer with the Wraiths, he had a Psychomancer with Immortals, he had a Catacomb Command Barge, a Nightbringer, a Void Dragon, a Luminar Ceres, Nexusar, Mentor, Scorpek Lord, Reanimator, Tomb Crawlers were with the Wraiths, Flayed Ones, and Ophidian Destroyers. And thanks to Wazdaka, I was able to kill both the Ophidian Destroyers and tie up the Immortals so they could never use their Cascade of Darkness or whatever it's called to teleport. And then I was basically just able to get all the squigs into the Wraiths on a turn where I didn't have to Wah, and then I was also able to Wah on his face the next turn. So it was basically that's all she wrote. So list felt incredible. There's a few changes. I got to work on that War Boss. One of the things I'm really interested in is a solo War Boss with the new data sheets that we saw in the Armageddon box. Now, that's not legal currently in match play, but when we do get the Codex, you'll be able to take that guy because that guy he's 6 attacks, Strength 8, AP2 damage 2 with Cleave. He's still a War Boss, meaning he still gets +4 attacks in the Wah and the +1 attack from the Wah. So he goes up to 11 attacks base at Strength 9, AP2 damage 2, and he has Cleave. For a 75-point model, I think a solo War Boss is probably going to be my favorite unit in the entire game when the Codex releases, assuming they have the same ability. I don't actually know if they do, but I'm just trying to go off of what we saw in the Armageddon release box with the data sheets that they have there, so I'm really hoping to do that. But yeah, the things on the chopping block for me are it's going to be the Mazrok Scragbad, and it's going to be that one War Boss who is leading the squad of whatevers. So that's what I'm thinking about. I need to figure out exactly where my brain is. I want a little bit more infantry in here, but I don't want more transports. So it's a little bit tricky, but I will figure that one out. Anyway, guys, this army freaking rocks. 5-0, incredibly powerful. Felt amazing into every single matchup, and I hope you guys enjoy it. If you have any questions, feel free to hop in the Discord, and you could ask, or you can book coach calls with me, and we'll go in depth on how to move and position on all of your unique take and hold maps. In addition to that, what I want you guys to do is be on the lookout because I have an accelerator that's coming out soon where we will be doing live sessions workshopping on all the incredible rules of list building. And when I say rules, I don't mean like the rules GW made, but the unspoken rules that we have to be able to perform at the highest level. So that's on the way. So be on the lookout for that. And until next time, crump on. Bye-bye.